Submit therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will convict you when you have selfish desires or self-indulgent desires. He's saying that he will grant us even more grace. He's like, just because the enemy comes, let me tell you, God is always greater. His grace is always bigger. This is not a message for us to beat ourselves up and to condemn ourselves, because he says, but even though you may have been struggling with this, but God gives greater grace. He gives a greater grace. That word but in the verse 6 switches the whole thing. Here Spurgeon says it this way: sin seeks to enter, grace shuts the door. Sin tries to get the mastery, but grace, which is stronger than sin, resists and will not permit it. Sin gets us down at times and puts its foot on our necks, but grace comes to the rescue. Sin comes up like Noah's flood, but grace rides over the tops of the mountains like the ark. Thank God we have the picture, the spiritual picture of the ark. And then we can see ourselves like a spiritual Noah, where we say, Lord, shut us up in this ark and rescue us from all this craziness that sin tries to drown us in. The key to this is what you see in letter B, which is that this grace that is greater, that is there to be given to you, is only given to those who will humble themselves. That's the key. The key is that grace will come to the humble. If you are proud and you walk in your ego and you think you got it all together and you don't acknowledge that you have royally failed, and that sometimes in your heart there is lust and there is covetousness and there are times when there is disunity and you are seeking things that may not be for you, if you don't come and humble yourself and say, Lord, it is me, not my brother, not my sister, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. If you don't do that, then grace will not be available to you. Because number one, grace and pride are eternal enemies. It was the original sin that the enemy, the original sin of the enemy was his pride. He wanted to be like God. He was like, well, wait a minute. Why is everybody worshiping God? Why can't I be like the Most High? Look at these two words, number one and number two. The first one is pride, and the second one is grace. The first one, pride, demands that I should be blessed because of my performance for him, whether real or imagined. It's like, oh, I pat myself on the spiritual back. Whereas grace only deals with me based on who God is, not based on anything that I've done to earn it. Pride